Good morning and welcome to the Angel and Tina morning show. We've got a small crew here today sending prayers and love to Tina. Y'all know if you're on her email list, you probably got an email from her this morning thanking you for the prayers. She spent the weekend in the hospital with a kidney stone. She is still suffering in pain over that kidney stone. And if you guys know anything about kidney stones, like send her some love. She's been getting all sorts of treatment advice and suggestions, but reach out to Tina. And then our second guest, who was supposed to join us this morning, wasn't able to be here. So we've got this light crew of it's Angel and Leslie today. Leslie Ann, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. And really happy to be here this morning.
I am super happy you are here this morning. It would have been a very quiet show otherwise. Probably would have had to play a best of. And so I always think that when you have faith and take action, the world shows up to support you, to guide you, and create miracles. And that is exactly how we ended up here this morning. So Leslie Ann, when we first got on camera, you said you were so excited and gave me this nice little backstory of how you ended up here today. And I thought we cannot let that go untold. We've got to tell that story to our audience. So back us up a little bit. How'd you end up here this morning?
Well, my whole journey, part of it's been including finding silver linings and gratitude and opening myself up to the world, which the universe, her. And that's not a way my thinking was many years ago. And this past week, I've been doing a challenge with Tony Robbins for 5 days. And I've been watching you for a while and the Beyond the Guest, and not in a creepy stalker way, but in a way that I really admire what you're doing. And I've thought, gosh, I'd really love to be on her show too. So the challenge finished up yesterday, and I thought, or the day before, and I said, okay, universe, I would, I don't know where it is, what the direction is you have for me. Maybe what I have in mind is not what you have in mind. So I am completely open. Bring it on. I will do whatever you bring my way. And then I get up in the morning and there is a message from Tina asking me that you've had a cancellation and could I show up? And I thought, oh my God, it works. I will keep doing this. Thank you. Thank you. So that's how I ended up. So I immediately contacted Tina and I said, absolutely. I'd love to be here. I'd be honored to be here to show up, even though we have a 3-hour difference. I'm out of bed early in California, showing up fully present.
Showing up, right? We talked about that too, how we broadcast from the East Coast, and when we first started the Angel and Tina morning show, I was in Colorado and we used to do it an hour earlier. And after a few months and having our West Coasters during the pandemic having to get up so early, we pushed the show just a little bit later. So we're actually an hour later than we used to be. But I love your attitude, right? When the universe shows up and invites you to participate, say yes, right? And don't send mixed messages, right? Do you want it or do
Right.
you not? If you're going to say I want these opportunities, then say yes when they show up so you can jump in and participate.
Well, I'm in a space where I know what kind of client I want. I actually can see where I want to move, where I want to be. Most of what I want to do, I'm pretty clear. So I've actually been doing a vision board that directs my attention towards that. And I have real clarity for the first time. But what also has pushed me into this clarity is I'm 72. I'm in my last act.
Oh
So
my
to
gosh,
speak.
girl,
Oh,
you are a youthful 72. I mean, your appearance, but your energy, yeah, you have a
thank you.
you are a youthful like I would have never guessed.
Thank
72.
you.
So bow down to the master, right? Whatever she's doing,
Yeah.
I'll have some of that. Wow.
Well, let me interject and not to have a cheesy ad for myself, but I do walk my talk. Anything that I ask my clients to do, I have done and continue to do. And the energy in my health and my skin. I don't have Botox or any of that or plastic surgery because I'd have to sue him because I do have wrinkles. He wouldn't have done a good job. But if you really behave the way you talk, the results happen to you first anyway. You really have to have it happen to you first before you put it out there to the world or the people that you want to make a difference with. So I appreciate, thank you. I'm honored that with your compliments, I will take them in graciously, which has been a difficult thing for me to learn too. But being 72, I had to get with the program, and I've tended to be a late bloomer anyway, most of my life. So this is not surprising that I finally have gotten it in this last half of my life, but I could have never have gotten it, and I wouldn't be
Well,
here talking to you.
yeah, I imagine, that everything you've done up until now has prepared you for this, right? And it's never too late.
Oh,
And I think that's
yeah,
a beautiful story too. Like, we beat ourselves up because we didn't do something earlier, or if I would have done it differently, I'd be someplace else. Well, maybe not. Right? Maybe this is exactly where you're supposed to be right now, doing what you're doing with the people you're with, so that you can guide others along that journey and show them, right?
right.
What, that it isn't too late, that you've done it too. So Leslie, and give us a little background. You probably got a lot under your belt at 72. Tell us, yeah, give us, yeah, some of your history.
Well, the part of my old story is that I was diagnosed with an incurable autoimmune disease when I was 11, but it began being symptomatic at 6 weeks. And it took until I was hemorrhaging at 11 years old with exploratory surgery for them to finally diagnose what I had, which what I have is Crohn's disease. And Crohn's is a disease of the entire digestive system, from the mouth all the way to the anus, and it can involve other organs, and you can have other issues with it. There have been times that I've had to have a cane with the seat in order to even walk. So it can be devastating. And through that, because of my mother's fear with me having this diagnosis, and this was way back in the 50s, they didn't even call it Crohn's disease then. It was called terminal ileitis. So you can only imagine how that freaked my parents out when they said, "I'm sorry, your daughter has terminal ileitis." It was like, oh my God, when is she going to die? So let's progress as the years flew by because of what this disease did. In other words, my maturation was slowed. I didn't have breasts or a period until I was 17, 18 years old. My mom also, her intention was, because she loved me, told me, don't ever tell anybody you have this because they won't want to be around you. So when you are a child with these messages that get implanted, you start thinking there's something not quite right about you. And you also can see friends who don't look like you. And I missed 2 years of high school. So you can only imagine those years are really important in terms of your development. And
Development, right? Friendships and development and relationships, and who you think, like, what you dream about being when you grow up, and as you go into adulthood, going through adolescence was tough enough, right? For
right,
like the average bear, and you throw, pile on something like this. And of course, right, these days everything's so spoken about, right? We talk about everything, and everybody's so open about, right, all of the I mean, Tina sent an email out about her kidney stone. Like, probably in the 50s you would not talk about this kind of stuff, right, openly
right.
with friends, and to have the kind of support, right? Also, like, we're more open, but you also have far more support going through some of these challenges now than you might have
Oh, oh,
then.
absolutely. I would say if you had cancer, there was a lot of support. But when you have an autoimmune disease, especially an invisible one like I have. That makes it really difficult because I never look sick. Thank God I didn't look on the outside like what I felt like on the inside. But people's reaction to you is different because when you say you are ill, people have in their mind what illness looks like. And I never looked like that. And I also developed a technique for having this wonderful, not so wonderful drawer of masks that I would pull out to put on so that my parents wouldn't be frightened. Okay, I could see my parents' face that they were really scared today. So let's put the happy Leslie mask on for today. And the one who doesn't feel any pain, or I'm around my friends, put Leslie's friendship mask on. So I learned very early to suppress whoever it was I was supposed to be, because I really didn't know because I had this drawer full of masks. So I thought I was making everybody comfortable and trying to read their expressions and their behavior.
I think a lot of people can relate to that, Leslie Ann, about wearing masks, right? In different situations, we feel like we have to show up a certain way. We show up a certain way at work or for our clients or for our family. And, and so who we are, like, it's almost compartmentalized. I'm this way for this group. I'm this way for over here. And I remember when Facebook first came on the scene, right? Whatever that was, 15 years ago. And I remember people being it was so challenging to have your personal life like on display at the time. And they're like, well, this is my personal profile. This is my business life. And who I am in business is not the same, as who I am with my friends and on the weekends. And all of a sudden, social media blurred, right? That rigid line between business and professional, because no longer were they separate, right? You could go to work and be who you were at work, and on the weekend be who you were with your friends. And then social media came along and it was all the same.
Right.
And now we're seeing, right, 10, 12 years, 15 years later, so not just you, I think a lot of people have had some sort of, okay, now can I just be me? And who is just me when all the masks are off, right? All the cameras are off, and can I just be that person all of the time? And if you can make it through, right? If you can make it through, I think it's a beautiful place to be. But the journey, Leslie Ann, is painful.
Oh, it was very painful to me because what happened 8 surgeries later, which is how many I've had from this disease, I ended up in a marriage, and the marriage was 18 years. And throughout a lot of the marriage, I was very ill. Mm-hmm. And the word that I used in my head, and now I understand how significant that is, about what you say to yourself is what you believe, and what your body believes also, is that my word for me was defective for many, many years. And that's a powerful,
that is, oh my gosh, that is a powerful word.
Right.
And yeah, what can you accomplish? What can you do? Where can you go if you feel as if you are defective? It shuts off all doors.
Exactly. And in that marriage, I had 2 young girls. And because I was so ill and going in and out of the hospital and having surgeries, in those days, I became initially addicted to opiates through the hospital. They would give me IV Demerol every 3 hours, 24 hours a day, and I was usually in the hospital for 10 days to 2 weeks. So my addiction began physically. And then because I felt like, I hope I can say this word because there isn't any better word to describe it, such a fuck up, that I then continued by I was prescribed freely all my opiates from the doctor. I could get 100 at a time as frequently as I needed them. So what I began doing, feeling so defective and so screwed up, is that I became addicted to the drugs and I abused them. And so that just piled onto the fact that now I'm a horrible mother, I'm a horrible wife, and through part of this marriage, there was abuse occurring. There was emotional abuse, and there were moments where I was choked and put on the ground. So none of that helped. And I got to a place in 1985 that I thought, I can't do this anymore. I don't know how to fix me. And in those days, there wasn't all this conversation around mindfulness and meditation, at least not with the people I associated with. They didn't do that. And I thought my girls are young enough, they could love another mother. Their dad would get remarried. I'm not doing this anymore. And I attempted suicide on New Year's Eve. And I took every single pill I had in the house. And all I did was, thank God, was sleep. And I woke up the next morning, and here comes the word again. Oh, fuck, I can't even kill myself. And so I thought, okay, then you need to find some big girl panties, Leslie, and you figure out a way that you can be in this world not feeling defective, providing energy for your children that's not depressive and difficult, and get out of the marriage.
How old were you, Leslie, when you made that pivot?
At that point, I was probably in my later 30s at
Okay.
that time.
Okay. So
And
it
so
lived you've
I
raised
lived,
families, right? You've got a
right.
family, you've got kids, you're an adult at that point. And pretty much knew what your life, like you had a picture of what your life was now going to be. And but you're like, I'm done. Like I'm walking away from that. Everything I know, everything's familiar, everything that you've built, and you're starting over, you're starting fresh, you're starting with nothing but hope.
And actually some of the time it turned to nothing because I
Mm.
lived a very upper middle class life. I was married to an executive who was very charming. You would never have in 100 years ever expected the type of dynamics that occurred in our home. And what kept me there was I was a stay-at-home mom. I hadn't worked for a long time. Yes, I did a lot of volunteer work. I did things at my kids' school, but do I want to leave all this?
Mm.
And that's what also supported my addiction.
Yeah.
When you live behind a beautiful fence like that, it's really easy to cover up who you are. And
Mm.
you have great access, not just to healthcare, but to the medication without having to go on the street, which is a shame.
Which is, yeah, so there's safety, or it was like a safety net, right, or cushion
Right.
of familiarity and comfort that you will have to walk away from. All right, well, I want to get to the other side because there's a whole
Okay.
new story, right? um,
Right.
with
Right.
Leslie.
The,
Right. She's a feisty grandma who's come out of retirement, believing you are never too old to start again. She's a certified somatic hypnotherapist and health coach who enables her clients to make long-term positive changes in their physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health to live a more balanced, healthy, and strong and happy life. Her quote unquote toolbox consists of science-based and holistic techniques such as inner size to begin shifting from past disabling stories and messages. And she's already set the pace. Like, if she can do it, she's walked herself through it. This isn't just something theory and that she's learned from somebody else. This is her personal journey, first helping herself and now with helping others. And so right now, Leslie Ann, like, there are people that have heard your story. They've heard the fall, right? Like, this is that hero's journey. Like, this is where I was, and then I had this breakthrough to come out the other side. And that was, what did you say? You were in your 30s. So that was 40 years ago.
long time ago. Right. And it's taken that many years
Hmm.
to change all those old messages, which are not completely erased, because there are days that something might happen and maybe I might misread a reaction from somebody. And I go back to that wounded spirit, that little girl. I don't use the word defective anymore because I know that I'm not.
What is your new word? What is your new word, Leslie Ann? What'd you replace it with?
Well, my new word for myself is warrior woman. So, uh, but the word is she was wounded. That's that she was a spirit that was wounded and lost and felt invisible. It was not that I was defective, and what I in my journey to healing was going through hypnotherapy school, not a weekend class, a year-long class. And my training occurred, which was the best blessing ever, while I was going through my divorce, because you have to examine what's inside you and the way you think before you start working on your clients. And a lot of people have a misrepresentation of what hypnosis is. They think it's turning somebody into a chicken or keeping their arm up for an hour or so. Hypnotherapy is, I don't even know how they do that, frankly. I mean, because you're totally, you know exactly what I'm saying to you when we're in session. So that was puzzling to me. Okay, so I went through hypnotherapy school. I also had, before that, became a massage therapist. And I did that to help people who were chronically ill, because after every surgery I had a massage therapist come in the following day and work out all the anesthesia and drugs from my lymphatic system. So that was my first skill. Then through hypnotherapy, and then I started also doing workshops for parents who had chronically ill children. And I went into the high school, and there were programs around in those days where we got together in assemblies and we taught kids about differences. And those differences showed us how more alike we are than how we're different. And I facilitated groups for the National Foundation for Crohn's disease and colitis. And I did a workshop for the department, Diablo Department Valley for Aging on Does Your Doctor Need Firing? Because that's a whole nother story. And I have in part of the book that I'm writing is some things that patients can do and how they can interact with their doctors, because I no longer have them on a pedestal. I understand they're a human being with way more knowledge in certain areas than I have, but they also don't get some of the emotional impact of what happens when you have an autoimmune disease. So
because they haven't been trained for that, right? That's not what they studied and what they went to school. And you can't blame them for not knowing, like that wasn't part of their training. Although it was funny this morning, Leslie, and as we talk about doctors, I was Googling for Tina, like, how long does it take to pass a kidney stone? And so I found something that says it takes, 30 to 45 days, right? Because hers is 5 millimeters.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing is going to take a month. And she's like, my doctor said 3 to 5 days. I said, oh, well, your doctor's probably smarter than Google than mine.
Yeah, right.
Right. If you go with you went to the doctor, you actually talked to somebody who actually knows something. I just did a Google search.
Right. They actually don't like us Googling. So
well, because all of a sudden we're experts, right? We spend 30 seconds like looking up something that they went to school for years and years. But they, and especially if they're specialists, like they've learned something. It doesn't mean they know everything. And they did not, right? There's not a lot of, not even bedside manner, for sometimes, right? Like, so the emotional turmoil and what happens after, and how do you live with this? And what are some coping skills? And, what are some foods that you can do and exercises you can do besides, Western medicine? There's a lot more opportunity for healing, like self-healing. I think our bodies want to heal. And I think they've got elements inside of them, right? Like if we put good stuff in, like our own bodies and our minds, right? So much of that is so powerful. You tell yourself you're defective, right, of course you're going to be sick all the time. And
It,
um,
and let me continue with what you said about what you put in your body, because in the day that I've had that is that there was no direction nutritionally for what I have, and it started dawning on me, oh my gosh, that should be the first thing or the second thing after I start rearranging and shifting my thinking about myself, is that what I put into my body. And I began eating organically. And I also developed a mentality of I'm going to be a partner with my doctor, that we will together negotiate the path of my healing. I'll bring forward what ideas I have and the research I've done, and I will listen, in my case, her also. And that partnership, I think, especially when you have an autoimmune disease, is imperative in working in relationship with your doctor. And I personally interviewed my doctors that I have to make sure they were willing to listen to my sometimes weird and frustrating ideas about how I can get this disease to settle down. But what I have discovered in this very long path to being healthy and not on medication and being able to do yoga every damn day. As a matter of fact, at 70, I became a yoga teacher with in a 200-hour class with women half my age, is that you need to change. It comes back to the mindset. Absolute. And it's every day you need to, like me, I'll go backwards. I wake up and I do a guided meditation for how I'm feeling in that morning when I wake up. Maybe I'm not as energetic as I'm feeling for the day. So my guided meditation will be to help waken my spirit and have me feel more energetic. And then I decide what my intentions are for the day. I have 3 things that I feel grateful for, and I write all this down in my journal. And then I go do at least 10 minutes of yoga and then get to work. And if I'm lucky, I can get outside.
well, Tina's going to be sad. She misses because you are speaking her language. She talks about, of course, she has the gratitude journal and taking that time every morning and every night to write down and physically like take the time to write down what you are grateful for. She's gonna be bummed that she missed having this interaction with you, because that is totally her sweet spot. Leslie, and I'm going to take a quick little commercial break. We're going to highlight our sponsors, and then we're going to talk about like what you're most excited about and how people can work with you and get involved with all the fabulous things that you're doing.
Sounds great. Okay.
Well, we want to say thank you to our sponsors of the Angel and Tina Morning Show. So grateful to have such amazing partners to want to come behind us and support us. The Angel and Tina Morning Show is brought to you by Zondra TV Network. We are digitally streamed on all those fabulous digital streaming networks, where all those on-demand channels, Roku, Apple TV, Chromecast, there's 7 digital streaming platforms. If you've ever wanted to have your own TV show, maybe you do content, right? You have a YouTube channel, you've got a podcast. If you've ever thought about taking that to TV, right, leveling it up, schedule a discovery call with them by going to beonztv.com. That's beonztv.com to schedule that discovery call and get yourself out there on digital streaming networks. Bliss by the Lake Boutique is our clothing sponsor. They get fresh new inventory in every single week. Follow them on social media, and they ship all around the globe. And then Sonic VA is your video assistant. You guys are creating content. You're creating videos, right? Half an hour to shoot it and 3 hours to edit it. Well, not anymore with Sonic VA. Send them your raw footage. They will edit it, create it, make it all beautiful, polish it, and upload it with all the keywords that you need to be seen and found on the #1 marketing channel, that is YouTube. Leverage the power of video to grow your business. You can't grow your business without it. And Sonic VA is your fabulous video assistant partner. And when you mention the Angel and Tina Morning Show, they're going to give you a 10% discount off your first 5 videos, right? So that's over a month of content that you're going to get a discount on when you mention the Angel and Tina Morning Show. Go to sonicva.com/video. That's sonicva.com/video. And mention the Angel and Tina Morning Show once you get there. Leslie Ann, okay, so now you are a licensed hypnotherapist. You are a yoga instructor. You have all of these fabulous resources. You have your toolbox. Tell people all the fabulous ways that you what are you most excited about coming down the pike? You said this is like your last season or your final chapter.
Well, what I'm most excited about is the fact that I finally realize that the things that I have learned these past 40 years are really important to share with other people, that I have a responsibility to actually share the gifts I've been given because I'm alive. And through this pandemic, actually, which has brought to light that has created the energy for me to come out of retirement, because I read so much suffering about what's going on in the world. And because the issues with addiction, and I've been in recovery for almost 20 years with my sobriety, is that I feel that I have additional tools that I can add to the world that can really impact those who are suffering with addiction. Also, it has become unmanageable for lots of people with their diagnoses with a chronic illness. So I'm here to lend not just support, but to provide a path that will be hopefully much shorter for you than it was for me to get out of your suffering. And I have learned so many different ways, whether you're talking about sobriety in an AA group or an NA group, whether it involves nutrition, and it also involves what I call that inner size. You must shift your thinking about yourself or nothing sticks. So what the kind of clients I have are not just those who have decided they want to stop relapsing. Those are a section of clients that I have. I also work with individuals who have a diagnosed chronic illness. And it's how do I manage it for my family, for my work, for myself. And I also help women who are going through a divorce, who have been in an abused marriage, because frankly, I am not anybody special. I am just like the girl or a woman next door. And if I can be where I am, feeling so much healthier and so vital and full of energy, so can anybody else if you do the work. And all the work begins with shifting of the mind. I work with nutrition. Because I'm a yoga teacher, we can do yoga. I also had training in college. I have certification as a personal trainer. And I can encompass everything. And I do a lot of mindfulness-based recovery technique and homework. I call myself now, because I'm embracing my age, Coach Grandma. And if you think of your grandmother, what emotion does that evoke for you? Love, warmth, unconditional understanding. But you know she'll kick your ass if you don't do what you're supposed to. And that's the kind of health coach I am. So
Coach Grandma, right? Coach Grandma, you're right. Like absolutely loves you, doesn't judge you, right? But will not let you fall, right? Won't let you be lazy, right? She sees your potential in you and she pushes you. And we even we want to make grandma proud too, right? We don't want to disappoint her. We don't want to let her down. We don't want to break her heart. And so what a fun mantra, Leslie Ann. I think that's really, really fun. Okay, so what's the best place for us to connect, get started?
Well, if you want to know more about me, you can go to LinkedIn, and I'm Leslie Ann Center. You can also go to About Me, And you can contact me through my email. And you have two ways to do that. I'm Leslie Center Sober Coach at gmail.com, or I'm Leslie Center Health Coach at gmail.com. And I spell my first name, it's Lesliecenter, and then it's either Sober Coach or Health Coach at gmail.com. And yes, that is my real last name, Center.
And well, actually, and when you first see it, I'm like, is that a location? Is that the name of
Yes.
your event center? But plus, right, and how grounded, like, to get centered, right? Like, you
Exactly.
really do a play on words there. What great branding, what a great name for branding. And even Health Coach and Sober Coach and Coach Grandma, these are all great branding and very sticky, right? You want to be memorable, especially when it comes to marketing. How do you stand out and stand out in the crowd for those referrals, and not blend in with all of your competition? You said you're writing a book. Tell us about the book.
Well, the book has to do, in the first part of the book, it's about a real detail about my journey into how I was from there to here. And then the second part is a handbook on how to manage your illness, how to manage being in the hospital, how to manage relating with the doctor. So it's all these self-care things that help individuals who are ill, as well as the journey.
Nice.
So
nice.
I tried.
When do we expect that to come out?
I'm not sure. Since I've been talking about it for over 20 years, I've decided this year I've pulled everything out. And I'm going to get to it, and also find somebody who has better skills maybe than I do to reach out and help me get this book finished, because it's so important. Because aside from that book, I've also designed a doll and several children's books for kids who are ill. And they're little stories about angels that guide children who have different things that are wrong with them, using the process, my inner size process, written in a place that children can understand it, to work so their parents can read it to them, so they can get to a better place also in their own understanding with their own disease. And also hopefully getting the doll designed that the kids can use. So I have all these ideas that I hadn't done anything with other than write about them. So this year, I'm hoping to be the year to get all these things accomplished.
Well, no coincidence that you are here, Leslie Ann. We have a whole process where we help entrepreneurs become authors. We have writers in our wheelhouse, all sorts of resources for you, and maybe even, I think we even have an inventor that might even help you be able to design your doll. I don't know if that's something she's done or not, but yeah, no coincidence that we're here together. Well, I'm super excited.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
What I also do is that you can contact me, and I will set up a free half-hour Zoom conference, so you can feel if I'm the right person to help coach you through where you are in life. So when they contact me through my email, we can set up a half-hour Zoom and connect and see if it feels like my wisdom and my compassion and my kick-ass nature would be something compatible with you.
I love it. I love it. Well, you've got her email, right? Leslie Center at Healing Coach and
Health Coach.
Health Coach and Sober Coach, right? Health Coach and Sober Coach.
Right. So it's either Leslie Center Health Coach at gmail.com or Leslie Center Sober Coach at gmail.com.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I should have written it down and then try to commit that to memory. Like, there's so many things, so many thoughts going on.
Right.
Okay. So this is good stuff. This is really good stuff. What a great resource you are, Leslie Ann, to our audience today. You've been an absolute bright start to our day. And I know we've got just a great community of support here to help you if you want to take that to the next level. One of the things we talk about is the secret recipe of media exposures, 2 interviews a week and 1 press release a month. Well, this week we are stockpiling. I am speaking on the Soulful Summit, the Soulful Entrepreneur Summit. Tomorrow, it is happening all this week. If you go to my Facebook, you can enroll and get a free pass to the Soulful Entrepreneur Summit. They also have all access passes for $97, and you can use the promo code Soul Angel, SOULANGEL, to get $10 off. Also on the systemssummits.com, go to systemsummits.com, and I'm speaking there this week. The Badass Women in Business today and tomorrow. I am speaking there today, and the Global Elevation Summit on Thursday. So when you don't do 2 a week and you skip a week, you get to stockpile them on. And so maybe I get the rest of the month off. Well, actually, this is the end of the month, right? So everything is happening this month, but anything that you are looking for when it comes to visibility and getting more exposure for your business, your book, or your brand, make sure you sign up for our Media Mastery Bootcamp. This first one of the year is coming up February 5th through the 7th. 3 days, most comprehensive media mastery activities and getting you set up for a full year of media and exposure. We've got a 90-day program to help you get your book published, helping you get booked on stages, helping you put together your media story, all of your media assets. Super excited that that is coming less than 10 days away to our first ever Media Mastery Bootcamp for 2021. Make sure you grab Tina's book, Beyond Gratitude, on Amazon. It's $5. It is still sitting there on the bestseller list. Send her some love for all the pain and suffering that she is going through this week. And we just want to say thank you for those of you who have been a guest, who watch the show, who participate, who share the show. We couldn't do this without you. We're so thankful to our sponsors, our guests coming on, Leslie Ann for coming on and being that bright start to your day, an unscripted conversation that is just happening here. You get to peel back the layers and learn a little bit, get to know our audience or our guests a little bit deeper. I'm Angel Tussey. You can grab my complimentary media starter kit at my website, makeyourbigimpact.com. That's makeyourbigimpact.com. Everything you need to get started, press release ideas, guaranteed media outlets, press release templates, all of the headlines in order to do a full year of pitching to the media, but truly don't delay. Enroll in that Media Mastery Bootcamp. Tickets are $1,500 and it includes a full year of access to working with me. I'm Angel Tussey, makeyourbigimpact.com. Tina Torres, your gratitude specialist. This is the Angel and Tina Morning Show. We come to you live every weekday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, and we're super excited. Leslie Ann, thanks for being our guest today.
Bye. Thank
We'll talk to
you.
y'all
Very
soon.
much honored. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.